I'm Leanna, and I did my research project on the third-party opportunity arises. So the problem statement within this election, we have two-party candidates that have the highest negatives in history. It's about 60% from the Alex Jones channel, and that outweighs the positives. So this study will address if Americans will turn to the third-party candidates as an alternative. So Gary Johnson has gained this opportunity to possibly gain more popularity, and the main themes that I found throughout my research started off with a literature review were the cost of running for the third party as president, the success of the third party and the hope of the third party, the third party shifts, and the news coverage for the third party. So, though the third party candidates are generally overlooked, the 2016 election has brought this new opportunity for them to gain popularity. So looking into the literature review, we see that there is a third party shift, and a stat from Gold, we could see that in 2006 they did a study on Pew, and 67% of the people say that they would consider voting for a third-party candidate. But out of this group, only 1/3 said that they were likely to vote as a third party. But this stat did increase by 15% from 1999, so you do see this shift in popularity. The third party is becoming more popularity, and people did say in this year, the 2007, that they were open to adding a new party, and that the two-party system is broken, and that the third party can address some issues that the two-party otherwise wouldn't. So the third-party success, Ross Perot really made a lot of interest in Americans with the third party in 1992. So he won 19% popular vote in America at the presidential election, which is a lot for the third party, and 62% of Americans said they would add a new party this year, and they also said that having another party would help America. Oh. Okay, so the bad two-party candidate choices, as we said, for the as the problem statements, many people have opted into voting Gary Johnson because of the fact that there's a distrust in Hillary with her emails, and Republicans with going against Trump because of his slash and burn campaign, because of a lot of Christian activists want they don't like Trump's anger because it's unfaithful, and centralists say he tends to disagree with everything. And the cost, there are a lot of costs and efforts to run as president, and one guy in particular, Michael Bloomberg, was planning on running as a third-party candidate or presidential candidate, but it would have cost about $1 million, and he would look at the two-party candidates as competition, but they wouldn't look at him as competition, and he would really have to strive for attention, especially against the Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, who are mainstream candidates. And the literature review, the news coverage, is a big issue with the third party because media can't cover those who don't get votes, and people are more likely to vote for a candidate that is in the media, but the cycle has to be broken in order for them to gain popularity, but it is increasing a little bit. So I propose the research question: if America were more educated about the third party, would he or she be more likely to choose a candidate that they like rather than voting against a candidate? So the method I used for this research in the archival review and the focus group was conventional. I looked at these certain videos, the archival review, can a third-party candidate become president on YouTube, came up with Jesse Ventura, just looked at all of his views in an open way. Focus group we watched in class, Extended Face the Nation group, part 1. And the directed method was used for the ethnography because I wanted to relate some of the Twitter feed to the actual, use all of the Twitter feeds and separate them into some of the categories that I had for my literature review. So, bad two-party candidate choices. John Dickerson, the host of Face the Nation, he asked the group, describe one word to describe the election. And every single one of the focus groups out of the 13 people, they all used a negative word. And here you can see some of the examples of who said the negative words in specific. And Jesse Ventura and Governor Gary Johnson don't believe in voting for the lesser of the two evil. And they are the ones who are educating. They believe that people should vote their conscience. So the third party shifts and issues. In the archival review, Jesse Ventura explains how the Democrats and the Republicans don't want a third party system. So they created 2 laws against it, which is the National Debate Commission and the Oregon Primary Measure 90. And in the focus group, there were comments about, the Republicans and the Democratic parties have actually shifted. You could see this because Nick and Renee both said they weren't clear about, the parties, who they stand for anymore, what the parties stand for anymore. And this should open the opportunity for a third party to win votes, but people are still not educated enough to trust that their vote is actually going to go to a president. Instead, they still think that people are using the third party to vote against. So the third party success and hope, the focus group proved that people are starting to think independently. Only 2 out of the 13 were members of the focus group, were party loyalists. The rest were thinking on their own. In ethnography, Gary Johnson's Twitter was filled with celebration and positive, and even in the end, his last video, he celebrated his success of the third party movement. So this new third party is starting to have more people involved with the third party. The cost of running the presidential candidate. The archival review proved that when Jesse Ventura said it was worth it for an independent party to run as a president, he was even going to run as president. But there is a problem that America isn't on the same playing field as we mentioned with the certain policies that America has. And so the key is to be in an election, or to be in the debates, but it's hard for a third party to get in the debates. The ethnography, Johnson persuaded the audience that it was unfair. Johnson wild word in the debates as well. So in the focus group, people were skeptical about the 2-party candidates, but people were still not committed to a third party. 0% of the people in the focus group weren't for a specific candidate or third-party candidates. And this could be because they're not as popular, and in time, America might trust that the third party would have more success, but America's not there yet. So the news coverage for third party in the archival review, Jesse Ventura gets a lot of news coverage as a third-party politician, and he promotes the independent party and really believes that it's a great opportunity for the third party. And in the focus group, people were clearly disgusted by the 2 party candidates, but out of the 13, 0% were 100% for a candidate. Or only 9 of them were 100% who they were going to vote for. In the ethnography, Governor Gary Johnson's Twitter, it's a form of news coverage, and he was getting a lot of positive feedback on his news coverage. In the discussions and conclusions, again, my research question. To answer it, Jesse Ventura and Governor Gary Johnson both educate people in believing and voting for the lesser of the two evils. They also both educate people to vote their conscience. So before a president can actually win, that's the third party candidate, the education would still need to increase, and they would need to allow independent parties to grow in popularity to increase the amount of coverage in the news. And once enough people start to be comfortable with the third party or gain that interest, people will want to make the American political system on the equal playing field. And if this system changes, then America will trust the third party more, and more people will vote in return. So the literature review themes stayed consistent throughout the study. There has been some limitations, and this is the ability, the lack of ability to talk directly to the politicians and the third-party supporters. And in the future, I would recommend digging deeper into why America voted for a candidate he disliked, and interview people who were on the fence about Gary Johnson. So in conclusion, though the 2016 election resulted in Donald Trump winning, Gary Johnson and Governor Weld still celebrate the movement of the third party, and they believe that there will be more third-party candidates running as president next year, and hope that one day a third-party president will win. Thank you.